Yeah, well, good for you. You know what? We've got some exciting things happening here in Holualoa. Number one, broadcasting live 91.1 in Holualoa, Hawaii. Pirate
Are
radio.
are we broadcasting live?
Always broadcasting live.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
I mean, listen, almost
Now
guaranteed.
I'm
No,
nervous. Now I'm nervous.
no, don't
Well,
be
hey,
nervous. Don't be
I
nervous.
have a message that I want to send to all the listeners in Hawaii. I want to say, welcome to Backtracking, the show where two old friends take a second listen to influential bands' catalogs, track by track. I am J. William Hall.
And I'm Dan Fiden. We will take this journey together, providing context both historical and personal on some legendary bands. For our second season, we've picked none other than indie rock darlings, American Music Club. Now, J. William Hall, we are back for side B of The Invisible Man. How are you?
I am hot.
Well, it is. I've heard that there's a little bit of a heat wave happening across most of the mainland U.S.
We are living under a heat dome. The temperatures are unbearable. I'm in the attic of my house.
Yeah.
The heat index has been above 100 for the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it's almost as if the sweet Lord intervened.
Yeah.
And he gave me relief in the form of giant thunderstorms, which erupted just moments before I was scheduled to come and record the podcast. I've got to turn off my AC. I don't got central AC coming to my attic. It's a window unit. I got to turn it off. I'm sitting here sweating. So if I take my shirt off,
Yeah.
will it be distracting for you?
It will not be distracting for me. It may be distracting for the ladies out in the audience. Thankfully, this is not a video podcast. But if they hear the rustle of a sweaty Pittsburgh Penguins t-shirt, I'll trust them to keep it under control.
Ladies, you've been warned.
Okay, so I do have a question though. Why do you have to turn your AC off in the event of a thunderstorm?
No, I have to turn it off to record the podcast because otherwise I've got this loud thing going in the background. Yes, it's for the audio fidelity. Only the very best audio quality for our listeners.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. I know all the listeners appreciate it. You're a real professional. But listen, Jay William, I want to get right into this. We spent a lot of time going over side A. We accomplished a lot last week. This week, I want to accomplish just as much, but in half the time. Are you up for it?
You want to work more efficiently. You want to be efficient about it. I understand.
I don't want to work harder. I want to work. Okay.
I've had a lifelong obsession with efficiency. And do you know where that stems from?
What?
Did you ever have to read the book in like middle school, Cheaper by the Dozen?
No.
It's this old book, and for some reason, we all had to read it for a reading class or whatever. It's called Cheaper by the Dozen, and it's about a family that has 12 children.
Yeah, I believe there was a Steve Martin movie of the same name that also was called Cheaper by the Dozen.
That sounds right. Based on the novel.
Okay.
In the novel, I don't know about the movie, the husband is an efficiency expert. That's like his profession.
Yes.
And I remember him going into detailed things about being more efficient in like movement. And these thoughts are always at the forefront of my thinking.
Really? That's strange. That's a strange thing. But I'm glad that you're focused on efficiency. Well, then why don't we actually be efficient here? Why don't we dive right into it? We're going to be ultra efficient because we've already covered this song. It's called Steve I Always Knew.
Steve? You think you can handle efficiency?
J. William, I Always Knew. 4 minutes and 2 seconds. We're going to listen to it efficiently and cover it efficiently. So let's get started.
Steve, I always knew you wanted me, but you know I had too much to lose. You said the only way through fear is to give in, and you were right, 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 you were right.
Okay, Jay William, there is no need for us to talk about these lyrics again. We covered them 2 weeks ago when we covered Lovers Leap USA Side B, did we not?
We did, in fact, cover them. And I think that the lyrics are mostly the same. I think there's a couple little word tweaks here and there between that version and this version. The main difference is that this version is a much sleeker, kind of slinkier version. The Lovers Leap, it's a faster tempo. It's got like the trip hoppy, breakbeaty thing going on.
Yeah, I've got to say, lyrically, no less bitter on this one than it was on Lovers Leap USA. I will say, though, in total, I like this version quite a bit better. I think that the instrumentation and the musical approach they took here really makes the chorus of this song pop much more. On the Lovers Leap USA version, I don't think I got as much of a sense that the chorus really was as pronounced a chorus or as distinguished a chorus, distinguished from the verses. It feels much more distinguished from the verses here, feels much more like a kind of a traditional pop chorus to me. I still, wouldn't say that this is, an all-time greatest hits for me, but I like this one quite a bit better.
I agree. I like this production better. The first one, I have noted that it sounded like a detective movie theme.
Yeah.
And this one almost sounds like it could be like the sequel to that original detective movie theme, but this one's set like, 20 years in the future or something like that. It's definitely got that Portishead kind of vibe to it. Yeah. The one thing that I noted is that his vocal is mixed. It sounded like it was mixed really low in this one. Like it was sort of buried a little bit at times. I would say that this is not one of my all-time faves either. But this is a good upgrade.
Yeah, I think this is an upgrade. I think your observation about where the vocals sit in the mix is interesting, and I think it doesn't just apply to this song. I don't think it applies to every song on the record, but I did notice that in a few different places here where it almost seems like he's trying to kind of like treat the vocals more like an atmospheric instrument in the same way that some of the other things are. Not always, but sometimes. Interesting choice, and definitely an interesting observation by you, Jay William. As always, you're a pro.
Hey, I've been doing this podcast thing for a long time now.
Well, you're very efficient. Now I'm going to show you how efficient you are. We are already moving on to bitterness. It is 4 minutes and 7 seconds. We're going to rock it into it and give it a listen.
You were a student of archaeology. You take comfort in cities that fall. When you smashed your place up, you thought you were making history. Bitterness poisons the soul.
Okay, bitterness. Now, I'm going to say I think that these are probably my favorite lyrics on the record. I just think that there's a lot of interest in here. And I think that, I don't know, I just kind of felt like in total they hold together pretty well as a set of lyrics. Kind of all of the lyrics work equally well in my mind. One of my favorite things that he kind of did here lyrically, the line that really the whole section pops out in my head and it kind of sticks in my memory, but the specific line was when you smashed your place up, you thought you were making history. I don't know. I thought that was, it follows this, like you're a student of archaeology section. You take comfort in cities that fall. I don't know. There's something about that I really like. But overall, not a cheery lyric, not a tremendously heartrending lyric like some other lyrics have been for me with Eitzel. But I do like this set of lyrics as a complete set of lyrics.
I really like the song as a whole. These are definitely dark lyrics. Like, the chorus is, "I don't know if I will ever love again." Like that's a pretty, serious thing to say. But, he structures the song similarly to some other ones, on this album. And I think the last one, where they're almost like a mantra, like it's almost like a chant, like, there's a verse and then he punctuates each verse with the same line, in this case, bitterness poisons the soul. But yeah, there's some really, really great lyrics, like very poetic. They almost read, which is true of a lot of his lyrics. They feel like they started as poems or free form writing that he kind of like molded into a song structure. But yeah, I like the student of archaeology section. I love the line or the couplet, "You like to wear expensive designer shades. You're so cool, you turn spring into fall." It's just like turns of phrase like that I think are just really like, well done, But he delivers it in a very serious, like there's no humor, in his delivery.
Yeah. Yeah. And that line, the repeated line, bitterness poisons the soul, is just the way he sings it, the kind of melody of that. It's just really memorable. It's not the chorus, I guess, but it functions in some ways similarly. Bitterness poisons the soul. Is that what I said? In any case, that's what he says. So, I really like that. Now, musically, I thought the thing that I like best about this one compared to many of the other songs on the album, it has a similarly strange atmospheric vibe here, but the percussion I liked quite a bit better, again, than just kind of the standard hip-hoppy kind of funk loops. There's this interesting little kind of rim shot drum pattern that's almost like a rumba pattern. But it really, I think, functions similarly to those kind of more standard loops that you hear in some of the other songs. It really is propulsive. It kind of pushes you through the song in a way that the music doesn't, because it's so atmospheric, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different elements to it. It does, like rumba, I think, it has this like Brazilian sort of like feel to it. And it almost sounds like a little bit like circusy, like, which has like a almost comical kind of like vibe to it, but just, coupled with this sort of deadly serious lyric and singing, it really works. Like there's something just really compelling about the percussion on this. I think it, and then a little later, there's sort of this like toy piano sounding thing that just like tinkles down, like following the melody, but it's really effective. The whole thing is just an interesting production, I think. Yeah. I think this is one of the high points for sure on this album. It was a surprise. Took me a couple of listens to actually find my way into this song, but once I did find my way into it, I would say that it's among my favorites on the album as well. Are you ready to move on to Anything? 5 minutes and 1 second. Okay, let's do it. Anything. Let's give it a listen.
Your mother always worried you'd be a sad old maid, alone and sour as a glass of lemonade. But you're not alone. You should know that by now. I'd give anything to be where you are. I'd give anything to be where you are right now.
Now, Jay William, explain to us how you read these lyrics.
So this is kind of like, this is another love song. This is a big. It feels romantic. This feels like a hold on to your love, style Eitzel ballad. I'd give anything to be where you are right now.
Yeah.
He loves this person.
Yeah. This is, I think it's a very sweet, very simple love song. I don't know why this entered into my head. I can't really point to a specific lyric, but there were moments when I was like, God, is this another one where he's singing to someone dead and expressing that I'd give anything to be where you are right now, that kind of a thing. In the end, I kind of settled on an interpretation that it was not that. But I did want to mention, at least like that popped into my head, but generally I would say that I felt like this was just in a much more straightforward way, sweet. I have to say, just on the topic of lyrics, this is not really important within the realm of kind of interpreting these lyrics. It didn't make a huge impact on me in terms of the meaning, but I just thought that the line, your mother always worried you'd be a sad old maid, alone and sour as a glass of lemonade. That line just stuck in my head. It's kind of goofy. It's kind of a goofy, cutesy, funny little line, but it really stuck in my head. I just couldn't figure out why, but it did.
Yeah, it's an effective line, but I agree. Like, my first reaction was a little like, it felt a little cutesy. It's like he brings it right up to the line, but doesn't quite cross it, and then it sticks in your head, So well done, Mark.
Yeah. Now, the music here I found to be, or we talked, or I said many times, I think, one of my favorite things that American Music Club did really kind of, and I think they perfected it on Everclear, is the band functioned as an orchestra swelling behind Eitzel's kind of vocal performance, right?
Right.
And I feel like this song captured a bit of that, but in a very different way, obviously, like in this kind of more atmospheric electronic way that he's adopted across this album. But this was really the song where I felt like, oh, this is in a weird way most evocative for me of AMC.
Yeah, I could see that. This definitely is given a big, up and down swelling production that really supports the vocals, and the song really kind of rises and falls. It's definitely, there's loops going on, or he's using that echo pedal to keep the piano chords echoing out, and I think you're right. Like there's something orchestral about it, about the arrangement.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. It was definitely, again, one of those songs on here that it took me a couple of times to kind of get into. But once I did, I had an appreciation for it that didn't appear on my first listen.
Yeah, it almost has like parts of it feel almost ambient a little bit. Like,
yeah,
or at least like the like if you took the vocal off completely, it would sound like this ambient sort of like piece, But this song, I think that some young pop diva needs to do a big emotional cover of this song.
Really?
It would be a smash hit. It would make Mark Eitzel millions of dollars. Taylor Swift, if you're out there, let's swing big.
Okay, that is really interesting. I did not get that on here. I have gotten that on some other Eitzel songs, as we've discussed.
This song this song would go down like gangbusters with all of the Swifties.
Okay, well, listen, you know the Swifties better than most, so I'm going to take your word for it. But
Or you know who else? Maybe you know who else?
Who?
Adelaide.
Adelaide. Well,
It's
you
a call.
love
It's a
Adelaide.
callback. It's a callback.
It is.
All right.
It is a callback. All right. So shall we move on now?
Let's do it.
Shall we move
Yes.
on? It is time, Jay William. Why don't you introduce it? It's time.
It's track 10. It's called "Without You."
4 minutes and 7 seconds. Let's give it a listen.
Oh, more than I could ever pay. I know much less than I say. I throw all my chances away without you.
Okay, so I really like these lyrics. I found the kind of repetition mechanic in here. It's not something Eitzel does a lot, but I think it's really effective. And I think, again, this is another example on this album where, in the end, I think that this is a really sweet love song. You know, I feel like you're kind of, maybe we're catching Eitzel in a moment where he's in a very happy relationship or something, but there's some reason that this one struck me primarily as a sweet love song.
I agree, you know, but it's an Eitzlerian love song. So
True,
it's
true.
a super sweet sentiment, but in the meantime, he kind of beats himself up, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and sort of like puts himself down, you know, like I'm nothing without you, you know, like that's sort of the message. So it's definitely got that kind of you know, dark Eitzel twist to it.
Yeah, it's true. Now musically, again, very breezy. I felt like this is breezy in a similar way to 60 Watt and West. And it feels to me like a much more logical extension of 60 Watt and West than the other songs that we've heard so far on the album. It could just be because of the kind of horns and the what sounds like vibes to me on here.
Yes,
But I got
it's
that
the
impression.
Vibes.
You think so?
It's the vibraphone. Yeah, the vibraphone takes you right back into that 60 Watt and West. You know, there was vibraphone on just that sort of like, you know, jazz nightclub kind of space.
Yeah, but I will say that in the second verse, this bass line, I think it's played on a bass. I'm not certain, but there is a bass line or like a bass-like keyboard line that enters in that verse, and I just really liked it. It was totally unexpected for me, but I liked that choice.
I'm trying to look and see if I have a name to attach to the bass. But I do not, because I appear to have accidentally closed that tab. So I don't know who played it, but this is a really nice arrangement on this song. I have noted that I think it's Mark Capel is credited with doing the arrangement. And then this is another song where Eitzel harmonizes with himself when he goes up to the you know, like he hits this great harmony and just, you know, it elevates the whole song. It like lifts, you know, very well arranged. This you know, I think fits into the big, you know, torch song category for him.
Yeah, you know, the arrangement I thought was really interesting in here. I really liked it. And overall, this song probably reminded me most. We talked about Fiona Apple and John Bryan a little bit in the last episode. This song, probably of all of the songs on the album, gave me that John Bryan kind of Fiona Apple feel. Not in a very literal sense, but just evocative of that. And again, pretty contemporaneous, right? There was a lot of around this time, I think that Brian was pretty prolific in the indie scene. There was a band Eels that he worked with. There was just, you know, that was a thing happening.
Yeah, sort of it's like this kind of like jazz-ish indie
Beatlesy.
with some
You had said before.
electronic elements, strings or string
Yeah.
sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, the indie equivalent of the wall of sound, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe you're not going to buy that. All right, well then we'll just move on if you don't like that. It is time for the global sweep of human history, 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Should we listen?
Okay.
And if you don't care, I don't care. I guess you think the war's already won. Don't wait for no veterans parade. 'Cause for you, it's never gonna come.
Okay, Jay William, I have a note, and I have no defense for this note. I can't articulate what it is about the song, but these lyrics were evocative of Royal Cafe for me. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I really don't know why. I genuinely don't know why. But it came up, that song kept on popping up in my head as I was kind of, I don't know, listening to this. And again, I don't really have a strong thing I can point to and say, that's what it is. It probably is something to do with the chorus where he, says, and if you don't care, I don't care. I'm not certain that appears in Royal Cafe at all, but there was just something about, when he sings, don't wait for no veterans parade. Maybe it reminds me of Don't Worry About the Magic Kingdom. Not sure, but there was just, it popped up in my head a couple of times.
All right. Well, I have a very different take.
Okay. All right. Go for it.
I see Royal Cafe as sort of like a little portrait of life on the road kind of thing.
Yep.
But, this one, beginning with the title,
Yeah.
the global sweep of human history. Has there been a more all-encompassing title?
No.
Literally everything that, well, maybe, yes, literally everything can fit under this title. So he's talking about a big thing, but then you get into the lyrics, and again, he does this sort of, repetitive mantra type of thing where, but this time it's the first line. If they dismiss me with a blank, then something bad's going to happen to them. I'm going to do something bad to them.
Yep.
And so that coupled with the title, I saw this as sort of like a commentary on humanity and humanity's tendency to turn on one another for, seeming slights or jealousy. That's what I interpreted it as.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I have to be honest, I kind of dismissed the title as one of those what Godzilla said to God type titles, right? Where it really was an obfuscation or some kind of backing away from the real message of the lyric. Although maybe that was foolish of me, but I as soon as I saw this title, that was my immediate reaction.
You could be 100% correct.
Well, I
idea,
do.
but
I think that your interpretation works really well. I think your interpretation works really well. Now, I do think, though, that the lyrics in this one, I think they're great lyrics overall. Well-crafted lyrics, cohesive lyrics, interpretable lyrics largely. The kind of lyrics that I generally like with Eitzel. The music I felt like was much sweeter than the lyrics kind of intimated. And the music on here, I really felt like it was quite West-like.
Well, that's interesting because one of the primary players on this song who is credited is none other than Mr. Voodie.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting. I didn't
I think
catch that.
he's
All right.
credited with Ebo.
Oh, interesting.
And
Okay.
So that has nothing to do with West. I just think it's interesting that conjured West
Yes. Because it
it's
shouldn't
Voodie
have.
playing on there. But
Yeah.
I thought, the opening of it anyway, because it starts with more of a finger-picked acoustic kind of thing, and it reminded me of like Blue and Gray Shirt or Love Doesn't Belong. Like,
Yeah.
it seemed like it's going to be one of those. But eventually, I mean, this thing builds up to kind of like a cloud of haze. You want to talk about, wall of sound. I'm talking about cloud of haze, like a noise kind of bridge. It's not like abrasive noise, but it's definitely just like, it gets very like, ambient-ish, I guess, in a way that you would not typically see in a sweet acoustic. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I like the production in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I like this song overall. I like this song overall. I would agree with you. It wasn't one that popped out as like an instantaneous favorite on the record, but I do like it. I just felt like it was a little bit more breezy and a little bit less propulsive than so many of the songs on here. There's just something about this one that doesn't have the drive that I think, the use of the loops and stuff tends to have on here. It feels decidedly, at least to me, less electronic, I guess.
Except for electric guitar. But
Yeah. I mean, when I
You know what I
but
mean.
yeah, I know what you mean. All right, well, listen.
we've got Kristen Sobditch playing on this one as well, and the organ is what I see credited. So,
Well, I'm gonna have to figure out where it was that I found her name previously in that Eitzel book. Maybe you know what? Maybe while we're listening to the next song, you can look in the little index of the Sean Body book and see if her name is listed in there. Although I don't think they have.
That's a
an
good
index
idea.
like that.
Hey.
All right, so while you're doing that, I'm gonna just move us right into the next song. It is Seeing Eye Dog, second last song on the album, 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Let's give it a listen.
Those burning souls with the knuckles all bruised, all biting their time until it's all used. I'm your seeing-eye dog. Your seeing-eye dog.
Okay, Jay William, I'm going to talk a little bit about the lyrics here. The most interesting thing to me about these lyrics was that Seeing Eye Dog is kind of a lyrical turn of phrase that appears in Caught in a Trap, I believe, or it might have been Lover's Sleep, but I think it's Caught in a Trap. Seeing Eye Dog at the end of his leash, it's all been said and done. It's a turn of
It's
phrase that
mentioned-
we hear from him previously.
The song is called Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yes.
And I think it's just interesting that he used that same kind of metaphor
Right.
of being a seeing eye dog, person being a seeing eye dog, in a song on the next record. I don't think it works as well here. I found this song to be troublesome.
You were troubled by this song.
Well, I wasn't troubled by it. I just didn't enjoy it as well as some of the other songs on this album. It's a weirdly upbeat song, somewhat catchy, but just feels out of place. It feels like a suit that doesn't fit quite right on Eitzel. I wish I could be more specific, but I was not a big fan of this one.
It's definitely more pop. Like, it feels more like a sing-along. It almost has like a reggae-ish feel. Like I'm definitely getting island vibes.
Oh,
from
really?
This song.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. There's sort of like this recurring. It sounds like a sitar or something like lick during the verses. That something about it combined with the rhythm, like it
Yeah.
feels somewhat beachy to me. But it also reminds me of. Are you familiar with Mac DeMarco?
I'm familiar with the name, but I've not heard any of this person's music. This is a rapper, correct?
No. He's like this indie guitar. You know, he kind of started as a DIY guy.
Huh.
I don't know how else to describe him, but he's got this sort of Shaggy Dog kind of quality to him that
Okay.
this, like pop sensibility, and this song reminds me of like ish of him. I mean, you know, if he's out there, Mac, you ripped off Eitzel's thing.
Really? Okay. So this
No,
is,
he
but-
didn't rip off Eitzel's.
Now, would you recommend this, young man? Would you recommend this to us? To
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
we'll,
yeah.
we'll check that out. I didn't get that reference because I never heard Mac DeMarco, but I don't know. This one didn't quite work for me. I would kind of this would probably be a drop it off the record one for me.
Not for me, actually.
Oh,
Like
well.
I actually do kind of like this one, and I think it's kind of earwormy. It definitely, like the end of this album sort of ends on this kind of like more uplifting or lighter kind of feel to it, which is unusual in the Eitzel catalog. But I like the song.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, different strokes for different folks.
That's correct.
But with that, why don't we move on to the final track that you just referenced? Proclaim Your Joy. 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's go.
Some build coffins, some drink coffee, some sing and dance. Some come from caterpillars and some propellers, some throw a lance. Some hide their faces, have deep feelings, always make big decisions. Some take painkillers, turn into vampire, watch television. It is important throughout your life to proclaim your joy. Yeah, it is important throughout your life to proclaim your joy.
All right, so this is a completely interesting Eitzel composition. I could not believe what I was hearing the first couple of times I listened to this. It just seemed so out of place for him. But by listen 5, 6, 7, I gotta say, I really loved it. It was just, I thought it was a terrific album ender. There was a Pitchfork review I read of this album where they compare this to the kind of style of song and the lyrical approach and stuff. They compared it to Lou Reed. I think obviously you've got to, when you think about these lyrics, you gotta think about Dylan, right? This is like a much more Dylan-esque approach in my opinion. But in either case, it's kind of this long catalog of stuff and then this very sing-alongable campfire-y chorus, right?
Yeah, this is definitely like a hoedown. This is a hee-haw kind of song, which Eitzel hasn't really done for a while. In early AMC, they typically had, one of these kind of ish songs on the first few albums, but then eventually, that kind of went away. So this is a return to that. It definitely sticks out like a sore thumb on this album. And, even more weirdly, it was the only song released as a standalone single
Yeah.
from this album.
Terrible choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's so unrepresentative of
Yeah.
Eitzel in general and the album in general. Like you, I grew to like the song. Like the more I listened to it, it is a joyful song. And that's an unusual stance for Eitzel, particularly to end the album on. But I don't know where else on the album you would put it. It would sound weirder anywhere else on the album. So it concludes the album on this like unexpected, joyful, upbeat note. As opposed to, almost any of his other albums usually end
Yeah.
on a heavy, like, so he's thrown curveballs, my friend.
I will tell you what, the Lou Reed call out from Pitchfork, I think, is a classic Pitchfork, how do you reference Velvet Underground in every review type thing. I think Dylan is Subterranean Homesick Blues is kind of the more obvious reference.
Right.
But I'll tell you who this reminded me of a lot. Bright Eyes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's just something about the jangliness, the spoken, the kind of word saladness of the verses that are mostly spoken, and then this really joyful, sing-alongable chorus. I don't know. It just like everything about it reminded me of Conor Oberst's song.
So when did Bright Eyes kind of emerge?
Well, that's a terrific question. Why don't you answer
right.
that for us?
I am going to find out at this moment.
Must have been. I would guess that their second album. I think their second album was Fevers and Mirrors, and I've got to imagine this was kind of like that was like a 2000 release.
Well, it looks like mid 90s is kind of when.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm off.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. When they reached peak Bright Eyes sing along place.
Yeah,
I'm not very familiar with their entire discography.
Oh,
but,
really? Interesting.
But I do think that is a good that's a good comparison. It's this ramshackle sing along kind of thing.
Yeah. So Fevers and Mirrors, which is not their first record, but it is. I could be wrong about this. It's like the first record that I think is pretty widely known.
Yeah, that's the first one I remember.
It was 2000. It was May of 2000. So that would. I'm not saying he was influenced by that, but I don't know. It definitely reminded me of that.
What you're saying is Conor Oberst heard a demo of this.
Oh,
song.
and then
then he built an entire band around it.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I think that I will say I feel like I hear Eitzel's influences on this album more than any other album to date. Do you think that's believable?
What do you mean by that? I need more.
I think that Eitzel at this point in his career was, I'm not certain about this, but my instinct after listening to this album is that Eitzel had gotten to a point in his career where he kind of felt a little like stagnant, stuck. He was looking for kind of something to inspire him. He did the 2 solo albums, took a long break, and I think he probably absorbed a whole bunch of music that was kind of new right at that moment, right? And it came out in a bunch of ways on this album. I'm going to make that assertion based on absolutely zero evidence, but a keen instinct for what might have happened.
I think that is solid speculation. I'm going to add to it.
Okay.
I think him moving into the realm of production.
Yes.
So, he's now, hands-on. He's, recording himself, and building albums out of these home recordings, and he's getting better and better at production. But the thing about the digital recording, home recording, really about any kind of recording is you're limited by you're limited by your knowledge and you're limited by your tools.
Yeah.
That you have available to you. So, like he's using loops and he's kind of doing, and I don't know what the source of any of those things were. Like I don't know if he was building these loops individually himself, like piece by piece, or if he was taking something that was like a preset from whatever software he was using and tweaking it or whatever, maybe it was a little bit of all of the above. But I think that just building so many of the songs off of loops, rather than a live band playing, like that automatically kind of changes the sound. And I think this was the time when, the digital audio workstations were emerging, and people were starting to play with them and use them, and
Yep.
so I guess I don't fault him, for doing this album in this way. Like, I think that it's not just the product of that's what was happening around him, but it's also just like, he had kind of gone down this road of doing it himself, and so these are the tools that are now available, and he's experimenting with them, but I think very successfully.
I would agree with that.
I think that this album is, I don't want to say like a return to. It's not a return to anything. It's just it's a different level of. I don't even know what words I'm looking for here, because it's like each of his solo albums has been distinct and different. And the first couple, it was like he was clearly going for, like, he was trying to make a hit. Like trying to sell albums or whatever. This one doesn't feel like he's trying to do anything. It just feels like he's exploring and experimenting. And writing a cool collection of songs, and here it is. And there's no expectations attached to it.
I would agree with that.
I think it's a triumph in that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's really well put. I would say that I read some of the reviews that I could find online, and there was this return to form meme. I would disagree with that. I wouldn't characterize this as a return to form, but I do think that what you said is accurate. It feels like an earnest exploration in a way that I don't think 60 Watt or West felt like exploratory albums. I'm not sure that he was like as intentionally trying to make a hit, but it feels to me as though there was a different impetus going on there. I'm not sure what it was, but there's something else going on. This album really feels much more like he's pursuing paths that are interesting to him and only him, and frequently executing something really, really interesting. I think this is a must-listen album that I would probably not put in my Eitzel AMC top 10, but I think it is a very interesting album to hear.
I'm not sure where I would put it in the entire span, and I am told that we will eventually get to that where we will rank the albums. But I think, like, artistically, and it's like Eitzel's, he's still growing, he's still progressing, he's still folding in new influences and new sounds, that are unexpected, and so I think it's a really, really solid album. Like I said, a triumph, huzzah.
Agreed. All right, so now it's time. We have to do the thing that you hate to do, but the audience loves for us to make you do. You have to select now, Jay William, the worst song on The Invisible Man. I want you to tell me, what is the worst song on this album?
So, if I'm remembering correctly, my least favorite song on Lover's Leap was the demo, as it turns out, for Steve I Always Knew.
Yeah, I think that is correct.
I'm going to agree with you that was one of my least favorite on this. This was a really tough task for me, by the way, because there are no stinkers on this album, in my opinion. Like, every song is solid, or it has something interesting about it. But when forced at gunpoint, frankly, to choose my least favorite song on this album, I'm going to go with The Global Sweep of Human History.
Oh gosh, okay,
I like
interesting.
I know. I gave a very passionate defense of the lyrics, and I got into that, but something about the overall finished thing, like it hasn't stayed with me like the other songs on this album. So I'm gonna choose that one.
Okay. All right. Well, interesting choice, unexpected choice for me, and of course, the wrong choice. It is the wrong choice. The correct choice for the worst song on this album is Seeing Eye Dog, J. William Hall. It is Seeing Eye Dog. Yeah. Just not quite there.
Hard disagree. Hard disagree.
Well, you can't disagree with facts. Not going to get you anywhere. But why don't we move on?
If we've learned anything in this day and age is, yes, you can disagree with facts.
Well, listen, I will tell you, it is time for you to select what you think is the best song on the album. This is a really important challenge.
There are, I had 4 or 5 songs in contention.
Yeah.
Including numbers such as Can You See?
Yeah.
To the Sea. Without You.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider one of my top songs. But my very favorite song on the album, which I am positive you're going to agree with me, is track 3, Christian Science Reading Room. Great song, hilarious, interesting musically. 3 cheers.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I will tell you, it's interesting to hear the ones that were contenders for you. To the Sea, I think because of the lyrical content and my affinity for Jeff Buckley, I didn't select that as the worst song on the album because of that lyrical content. But I think had it not had a Jeff Buckley connection, and I think well-crafted lyrics generally, it would have been a contender for the worst song on the album. I did not pick Christian Science Reading Room as the best song, although I think it's great for what it is. I really do think it's great for what it is. It just felt a little bit too light, a little bit too insubstantial to be the best song on the album. Although I thought it was great. My selection for the best song on the album, which is in fact the best song on the album, is Can You See? Can You See is just really, really memorable. I think well executed, carries off the kind of electronica influenced thing that he's doing on this album well. Great instrumentation. It's a great song.
I don't disagree with any of the praise you have for the song, but it creates a dilemma for me because it seemed like you did not like Seeing Eye Dog because it felt too kind of like pop ish or whatever, and Can You See I feel like feels that way a bit, you know, just
it does.
Like the lyrical hook.
It does. It does. It does. And I don't blame you for asking that question. I think that Seeing Eye Dog, I just don't think is as well constructed. It doesn't pull off the thing that I think he's going for on this album as well as Can You See. If I try to distill what it is, like what is this Mark Eitzel with, you know, loops and all that, this like electronic music Mark Eitzel, right?
Yeah.
I think that Can You See is the best embodiment of that for me. I just think it's a good song, well executed within this framework. That's why I selected it.
All right, I want to give you my runner-up because I forgot to mention it in my list. Bitterness was my runner-up, actually.
Bitterness is quite good. Bitterness is quite good.
Yeah. So high quality of songs on this album.
Yeah, I actually, you know, it's funny. It's like when you go back and there's a number. I actually think Proclaim Your Joy I would put into the same category as Christian Science Reading Room. I wouldn't select it as the best song on the album because I think it is so somehow not indicative of this album or of Eitzel overall. But I think for what it is and like the surprise that it carried with it, I really liked it. And I felt the same way about Christian Science Reading Room. I just wasn't expecting a funny little song like that. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's some really nice surprises on this album, I guess is my through line here.
Now I want to just give a brief shout out to, there was a single released from this album. It was Proclaim Your Joy, which we both agreed was probably not the best pick as a single. It had a non-album B-side, which
Yeah.
you know I love,
Yeah.
with a very Eitzellerian title.
Yeah.
Did you listen to this?
I didn't, but I saw the lyrics in Genius. This is the fairy one.
Yes. Tell it to the lonely fairy in the forest, parentheses, a rural gamble.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not listen to it.
I found it. I listened to it. It's definitely of a piece with the rest of the album. It kind of starts as a spare acoustic, and he's whispery vocals. It's got a little bit of a light jazz to it, with some electronic stuff going on. The one thing, it has like sort of unusual sound effects like in it, like sirens and things, and it gets a little like atonal at times, like as it goes on. So I can see why he didn't include it on the album, but I think it's kind of cool as a B-side, as all B-sides are.
You love a B-side. Well, listen,
I do.
Speaking of B-sides, J. William Hall, we are going to be back next week, and you know what we're going to tackle? We are
What
going
is
to
it?
tackle another collection of oddities and B-sides and rarities and demos. It is Mark Eitzel Super Hits International.
So my assumption is that these demos, this Super Hits International collection, are songs that he was developing simultaneous with The Invisible Man.
Yeah, I think that's the case, and it was apparently distributed in a similar way to Lovers Leap USA. So it was limited printing, sold at shows, essentially as merch. So I'm expecting something that is not dissimilar to Lovers Leap USA. But again, I've never heard it, and I'm looking forward to hearing it for the first time.
As am I.
Well, that's terrific. So listen, listeners, come back next week. We're going to cover A and B of that album. It's going to be a joyful romp. Jay William, thank you as always. If you guys want to get in touch with us, it's Backtracking Rocks ROX at Instagram. It's Backtracking Rocks ROX at Twitter. It is American Music Club subreddit. It is email, backtrackingrocks@gmail.com. Those are the only ways to get in touch with us. Don't bother doing anything else. Just do that. Write a good review, share it with your friends, post it on a bathroom stall. Okay?
Scratch it into the walls of the bathroom stall.
That's right. That's with some kind of etching, like a electronic pencil.
Or just a knife. You just use a knife and scratch it into the side of the bathroom stall. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do the graffiti in the bathroom stall.
No.
Don't you know this?
No, just be careful with that knife. Don't cut yourself. Okay, everybody. We will see you next week. Jay William, as always, thank you.
No, thank you, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Bye.